things are changing so rapidly now. I think for a period of years, the only thing that was going on is just getting slightly hotter than a month before. And now things are changing so rapidly on a month by month basis,
Yeah.
and so, one of the things, of course, is the election now is over. Joe Biden's elected office. And then as real estate investors are slightly freaking out a little bit at what that means. With Trump being there, it would have been status quo, but now there's change. And we don't really know what that means, when it's going to happen, how big it's going to be. But one of the things that we keep hearing is these moratoriums, these eviction moratoriums. And we start off, it sounded like a good idea, kind of like printing money was a good idea. And it worked so well the previous quarter, and let's keep going. And so what happens is it seems like these moratoriums are just simply being extended, and the same thing happens. So what is going on with that whole eviction moratorium?
Yeah, Michael, it's a good question. Eviction is our primary tool in our toolbox for keeping our properties full and removing tenants who don't pay. And we, with the most recent extension by Biden, we have an eviction moratorium through the 31st of March. It'll be a full year of moratoriums. So it's a big deal for us. I say it's like asking someone to play baseball, but not giving them a baseball glove. It's tough to do it well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you would think that the entire industry is an uproar. We hear about the hotel industry vacant, redevelopment, going out of business, restaurants, right? And how has that affected the apartment building side?
The shortest answer is it hasn't been a non-issue, but it hasn't been nearly as severe as we thought it was going to be, right? So when COVID started getting serious in Q2 of last year, we did a distribution moratorium. You're talking about eviction moratorium. We did a distribution moratorium for that quarter because we said we don't know how bad the storm's going to get. We're going to preserve cash, be able to ride through the storm and see what it's like. And so we did that in Q2 of last year. But here we are in January of 2021. And for the properties that we did a distribution moratorium on, we are doing a makeup distribution on those ones because our portfolio has performed well, and the delinquency hasn't been nearly as great as we thought it could be. And so we find ourselves sitting in a pretty good position right now.
Yeah, so you're saying it wasn't a non-issue, but it wasn't an issue either, meaning that it must have been an issue somehow, but maybe we fixed it or managed it somehow. What are we doing? How are we handling the fact that we can't just file an eviction when someone stops paying? What are we doing now, and how is that working or not working?
I'm not saying that we don't have these issues. With a portfolio of about 2,000 units and $100 million of real estate, we are going to have delinquent tenants no matter how rigorous your underwriting is. So we're trying to do three things to work with those delinquent tenants. So first off, if the tenant is acting in good faith and they're coming to us and saying, hey, I lost my job because of COVID. I was in the hotel industry. I was a server. We're going to work with them. And this was the case, by the way, before COVID, but we're going to try to figure out a plan to pay. And we're going to work with them as long as they're communicative and they're delivering on what they say and there's an open line of communication. We don't want to evict, number one, because it's not economically a good thing, but also it's kind of, it's heartless if someone's working with you. So we try to work with them. That's number one. Number two, if they do become delinquent and it gets bad, we try to educate them about their situation. A moratorium doesn't mean you don't have an obligation to pay. It just means that our tool is restricted for some time. They still have an obligation to pay. And if they don't pay, there'll still be a eviction on their record. A collections agency might come at them. So sometimes when we explain that situation to them, we do get tenants to say, you know what, I'm just going to leave now as opposed to sitting on this unit for 6-9 months and letting that account build up. So by educating them, we can often get them to self-evict in a sense or self-move faster, even though we don't have the legal authority to get them out right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's right. I just want to say on that, people think that, oh, that's great, I don't have to pay. But yeah, you do have to pay. You still own the liability, and an eviction is on your record.
Right.
And typically there's a collections process, and who wants that? So when they understand that, like, you know what, you're right. Instead of
right, and so this is where sorry to cut you off, Michael, but this is where having an excellent on-site staff that knows their tenants pays off, and that is forward leaning on communication. Hey, you still have to pay. These are what the rules really are, because these tenants often don't know the rules. You and I know the rules because we live, eat, and breathe this industry every day. We read the papers. But these tenants, they're like, oh, a moratorium, and then their friends say, or Facebook says, I don't need to pay, and they're like, sounds good. Yeah. So it's our job to educate them about the rules are, and often when they know the rules, they make smarter decisions.
Yeah, that's right. You're going to say another thing that we do.
Yeah, we have talked internally about changing the terms of our leases going forward. We haven't done it yet, but listen, what's the value in signing a 12-month lease if the tenants can just sit on that lease and say, hey, I have a right to be in here for 12 months, but we can't also, the other side of the coin is force them to pay. So if you alternatively have a month-to-month lease, then they no longer have a legal right or contractual right to be in that unit for 9, 10, 11 more months. So we're discussing that. There's some reasons not to do it, but we're thinking outside the box because we are in a outside the box kind of world right now with COVID and with the eviction moratorium. So we're looking at that as well.
What's your outlook for continued moratoriums and collections in general?
Well, so our collections are still really strong, right? We thought they were going to, we stress tested the models. They're still really strong. They're not as strong, but they're pennies on the dollar less than they were before. So I think collections will continue to be strong. I think we'll continue to have eviction moratoriums. I think that's a new reality. I hope, and this latest, as we broadcast right now, hasn't been passed, this latest stimulus package, but I hope that that rent assistance is tied with eviction moratoriums. They should go hand in hand, and we'll see how that plays out. But that's going to be very key. But I expect these things to continue. I do.
Drew for president. No, appreciate it coming on. I love this.
No, I am not a candidate.
Yeah. We'll do this about monthly or so, and just kind of keep everybody abreast of what's going on right now. So I appreciate it, Drew. Thanks for coming on the show.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Good talking to you.
Yeah. So multifamily continues to perform at a really high level. Again, in the second recession we've had over the last 15 or so years, 2008 being the last one, just continuously just impressed by how it performs and how resilient it is. A lot of it is driven that we have a huge affordable housing shortage, and we can tell by the ongoing demand, both for housing on the collection side as well, the lease-ups, the traffic we're seeing, as well as, of course, the demand on the buy side as well. So if you are interested in investing in multifamily syndications, we'd love to have a chat with you. We're always working on deals, but we do need to talk to you first. We can't just show you a deal. So head on over to nighthawkequity.com, click the join button to join our Nighthawk Investor Club, fill out a short form, and then schedule a call with us. Hey, and before you leave, make sure you subscribe to my channel below. We put out videos every single week, and you don't want to miss it. Also, if you haven't done so already, grab my free ebook here, okay? It's a secret to raising money to buy your first apartment building deal. It's a good one, so grab that. And hey, check out another video.